This is Xavier the host with 3 Dudes News, presenting a recap of the first period in our world history. With the cities of Mesopotamia, Indus River Valley, Tigris Euphrates, and the Yellow River, as well as the Nile River, we saw the beginning of civilization becoming its own. With trading of crops, buying and selling of goods, and finally instituting the idea of establishing a set leader, we have continued their concepts even today. With this, we have just found new evidence that maize in Mesopotamia played key roles in the continuing of civilization, as one of our sources stated that the domestication of maize provided surpluses of food during the starvation periods, which gave future generations techniques and tools that we will use today.
That was easy.
Now for a commercial break.
Are you looking for a new vacation spot? What about the 800 BC Greek polis? During that time, they were a self-governed city-state which had a democracy. And each city-state has its own government and economy. You'll never run out of fun things to do in the Greek polis.
David was the ultimate Jewish leader. The biblical King David of Israel was known for his skills as a warrior and as the writer of the Psalms. In his 40 years as ruler, he united the people of Israel, led them to victory in battle, conquered land, and paved the way for his son, Solomon, to build the Holy Temple. The northern tribes of Israel voluntarily submitted to David. David was the first king of united Israel. He founded a dynasty in Jerusalem that remained in power for about 500 years. Just remember, a vote for David is a vote for prosperity.
Now time for an interview.
The Vedic Age was a period in history during which the Vedas, the oldest scriptures in Hinduism, were composed. This happened between 1500 and 500 BCE. Philological and linguistic evidence show that the Rig Veda, the oldest Vedas, were composed between 1700 and 1100 BCE. The end of the period is commonly estimated to have occurred about 500 BCE. Transmission of the text in the Vedic period was by oral tradition alone. The associate culture, sometimes referred to as Vedic civilization, was centered early in the northwestern parts of the Indian subcontinent.
It's back and better than ever. In 586 BC, the new Babylonian conquest of Judah. The Babylonian captivity is the period in Jewish history during which a number of Jews of the ancient kingdom of Judah were captives in Babylonia. After the fall of Babylon to the Persian king Cyrus the Great in 538 BC, exiled Jews began to return to the land of Judah. Like the Syrians, the Babylonians deported vanquished peoples to maintain tighter control over conquered territories. God, through his prophets, encouraged the people not to give up hope that they would one day return to their homeland.
Welcome back to 3 Dudes News. This is your news anchor, Mohammad, bringing the next top news stories. Agriculture has played a big part in world history. This big role was found in South America and New Guinea around 3000 BCE. Many plants were domesticated, including potatoes and bananas. It also transitioned South America and New Guinea from a nomadic society to a settler society. Next on the topic list is from 3000 to 1000 BCE. At the start of the Indo-European migrations, the Indo-Europeans came from the Black Sea and Caspian Sea to invade India. Agriculture became the backbone of the economy. They created a bartering system and weighing system and many other great achievements. Again, this is your news anchor, Mohammad. I hope you listen.
Where are they now? Presented by Xavier de Hoyos.
Today we'll be speaking of the Bantu, Aryan, and Austronesian migrations. For the Bantu people, they displayed an early readiness to migrate to new territories. By 3000 BCE, they were slowly spreading south into the West African forest. Although after 2000 BCE, they expanded rapidly into the south toward the Congo River Basin and east towards the Great Lakes, absorbing local populations of hunting, gathering, and fishing peoples into agricultural societies. For the Aryan migrations, historians don't know if the Aryans invaded India or peacefully migrated into the Harappan civilization because the Indus River Valley left no written records. Aryans entered India, gradually, slowly moving south to the subcontinent. Aryans were nomadic herders, but as they spread into India, their culture blended with the city life of the native Dravidians. Finally, for the Austronesian migration, there are currently two theories of the origins. There is the Isle of Taiwan theory, a migration coming from mainland Asia to Taiwan. And finally, the Sunland theory. It is favored by archaeologists, biologists, and some genetics. The major part of this theory is that 8,000 years ago, the lands of maritime Southeast Asia were connected with the original homeland of the Austronesians. Thank you very much. This has been Where Are They Now?
Now time for an interview.
Excuse me, sir. How's it feel to be overthrown?
Well, being part of the Shang Dynasty, I mean, my family, we did a good job at ruling. We did lots of things for the people, but because of the men out of heaven, the Zhao family came and took us out, and they killed all of us. And now we're dead, and we don't rule China no more. I mean, it's stupid to me.
With a recap of tonight's game, we saw much heated rivalry between the Egyptian kings and Damascus Assyrians. Playing on the Israeli court, the kings started off strong by surrounding star players from the Assyrians. But all that changed with a sudden turnover of Israel. The Assyrians took the game by storm. Although the win, 10 players could not perform in this regular season game, therefore cutting the 10 lost tribes from the team. This has been your TTN Game Recap.
Come get your new iron tools from Africa. Iron production created advanced tools, warfare, and valuable trade items. The iron working influenced social, cultural, and political aspects of African life. The Iron Age of Africa was based around the agricultural revolution, driven by the use of iron tools. Iron goods inspired economic activity, the rise of chiefdoms, and even states. Not every region benefited from iron production. Some suffered environmentally.
Breaking news! In the years 2600 through 2500 BC, slaves were believed to have built the ancient Egyptian pyramids. Although, archaeologists have found new evidence claiming they weren't slaves, just specialized workers hired by Pharaoh Khufu. These pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs and their queens. The pharaoh during this time was treated like a live god. On the other hand, the Harappan society in South Asia reached its peak between 2500 through 2000 BC. The cities were well known for the organized layout. The people there were literate and used a Dravidian language. Only part of this language has been deciphered. Around 2350 BC was the beginning of regional empires in Mesopotamia. During this time, bronze replaced copper as the primary tool-making material. The rise of city-states laid foundation for economical and political stability. They had the first recorded author known to the world. Yeehaw!
On to our next story, Ed. Hey! On to our next story.
Blew right past the stop sign.